In the above pictures, we see some actions taking place. Carrying a log on the head, pushing a boulder, picking up a satchel, pushing a car speeding along, hitting a ball with a bat. In each of these actions, a force is applied to some object. The object is set in motion and moves from its original place. That is, the object is displaced. When force is applied and an object is set in motion, or the direction of an object in motion is changed, then work is said to be done. In which of the pictures below is work not being done? In the first picture, the work is done more. Relation between work and energy. You feel tired in the evening after playing, or after you have done some hard work. Why is this so? Because we do not have the energy required to do the work. We find it difficult to walk even a step or two after a long illness, because we do not have the energy required to do the work involved in walking. The capacity to do work is called energy. When we use a machine to do some work, we need mechanical energy. What is the source of the energy that drives a car? It comes from a fuel like petrol. Processes like digestion of food and excretion go on continuously in our body. Muscular energy is used to carry out these processes. The body uses physical energy to enable us to apply muscular force. Physical energy is used when we ride a cycle too. Measuring work. Energy is required for doing work. Sometimes the work done is more, sometimes less. Imagine that you are pushing an empty carton towards your friend. Next, imagine that you have filled the box with books before pushing it. Work will be done both times, but when will you have to do more work? While pushing the box filled with the books, we have to do more work. When displacement is the same, more work is done when more force is applied to do it. In a well, the water level is 10 meters below the ground, and in another well, it is at a depth of 15 meters. Now, if the same bucket is used to lift water, first from the first well and then from the other, when is more work done? More work is done while lifting the water from the well, which is 15 meters deep below the ground. Here, the force used is the same in both cases, but the displacement is different. When the force applied is the same, more work is done when more displacement takes place. It means that to measure work, we must consider both the force applied as well as the displacement. Potential energy and kinetic energy. If you bend a branch of a tree and let it go, it gets back into its original position. Displacement occurred both when the branch was pulled down and also when it went back to its first place. Hence, work was done in both cases. Force is applied for bending the branch. That is why it was displaced. The branch could go back to its position when you let it go, because energy was stored in it. When you stretch a piece of rubber and let it go, displacement takes place. When the clockwork of a toy is wound up, the toy begins to play. Work was done when the rubber was stretched, as well as when the clockwork was wound up. Force was applied to stretch the piece of rubber and to turn the key of the toy. That is why there was displacement and work was done. This work done is stored in the object in the form of energy. Thus, energy was stored in the rubber in its extended condition and in the clockwork in its wound-up condition. That is why when the rubber was released, it went back to its original position, and when the winding key was released, the toy began to move. This stored up energy which has the potential to do work is called potential energy. Try this. Take a wooden plank. Place it on a brick as shown in the figure to make an inclined plane. Place a matchbox on the plank. Put a spent electric cell near the top of the plank. The cell will roll down. When it hits the matchbox, it will push the matchbox and both will fall down. In this experiment, why did the matchbox fall down? Because it was pushed by the cell. It means that the rolling cell had energy. Every moving object has energy. The energy that a body gets because of its motion is called kinetic energy. In a steam engine, work is done by using heat to change water into steam. You must have seen a jet of steam coming out of the pressure cooker. It means that heat is a form of energy. Try this. Take a convex lens. Hold it over a piece of paper in sunlight. Now, adjust the position of the lens so that you can see only a tiny spot of sunlight on the paper. Hold the lens and the paper in this position for some time. In a minute or two, you will see that the paper begins to burn at the place where sunlight passing through the lens is focused on it. What does this tell us? Sunlight contains heat energy. The lens causes the sunlight to focus at one point. That is why the paper begins to burn there. Remember, when trying out any activity from the lessons, take precautions to avoid any injury or mishap. A chemical reaction takes place on a photographic film due to light. The loud explosion that occurs when a charge of dynamite is fired can cause glass panes to break. These examples tell us that sound and light too are forms of energy. When Diwali fireworks go off, they give out heat, light, and sound energy simultaneously. The substances in the fireworks are packed with chemical energy. That is why light, heat, and sound are all released as soon as they are fired or hit. Magnetic energy is a form of energy. You know that magnetic force can be used to do work. Big machines have been designed which make use of this force. Magnetic cranes are used to lift heavy loads. A magnetic belt is used to separate iron from other scrap. Electricity is also a form of energy. Electrical energy is used in several gadgets you use at home, such as the fan, fridge, washing machine, water heater, and so on. Thus, we see that heat, light, sound, magnetism, electricity are all forms of energy. Transformation of energy. Energy is never destroyed. It is converted from one form into another. In winter, what happens when we rub our hands together? Kinetic energy is converted into heat energy. The electric motor and the dynamo. You may have seen the dynamo that is fitted on a bicycle wheel. Its little cap turns as it rubs against the rim of the wheel. As a result, the dynamo produces electricity which lights the bicycle lamp. It means that the dynamo produces electricity using kinetic energy. On the other hand, when electricity is supplied to the electric motor, the motor begins to turn. Thus, in an electric motor, electrical energy is converted into kinetic energy. The blades of the electric fan are so designed and assembled that as the motor turns, the blades turn too. They push the air above downwards and we feel cooler. Sources of energy. Conventional sources. You know that living things get energy from food. Plants are the main food of man and animals. Hence, plants are an important source of energy. Energy is stored in plants in the form of chemical energy. Wood obtained from plants has been used down the ages as a fuel. The chemical energy in wood is released in the form of light and heat. We get coal, diesel, petrol, etc. from deep inside the earth. We get heat from coal. Coal is also used to generate electricity. Trains, aeroplanes, motor vehicles run on coal, petrol and diesel. At present, these are very important sources of energy. We have been using all these sources of energy as fuel since a long time ago. That is why they are known as conventional sources of energy. The deposits of these fuels found inside the earth are limited. Their use is increasing day by day. Hence, there is the danger that they will run out. It will be wise to use alternative sources of energy to supplement the use of conventional sources. Sources of energy. Non-conventional sources. We get heat from the sun. In fact, it is the main never-ending source of energy. It can be used to produce energy. We can make use of solar energy for our daily needs by using devices such as the solar heater and the solar electric cell. Water falling from a great height is used for generating electricity. You know that this is done in hydroelectric power plants. Nuclear energy is gaining favor for the purpose of generating electricity. It is hoped that if generation of power by nuclear energy projects increases, it will serve as an excellent supplementary alternative to conventional energy sources. Biofuels, biodiesel. Efforts are being made to obtain fuel oil from plants such as karanja and jatropha. That is why cultivation of these plants in adequate quantities is being encouraged. We need electricity all day, every day. Electricity is used in tremendous quantities today due to the increasing use of machines, growth of industrialization and growing population. However, it is necessary to use electricity with great thrift considering the situation today. One good remedy for this situation is the use of solar energy. It is possible to obtain electricity from sunlight in an excellent manner. For this purpose, solar cells have to be prepared. A solar cell is made using thin discs of pure silicon. Solar energy is converted into electrical energy in the solar cell. We get a very weak electric current from a single solar cell. However, if many solar cells are joined together, we can easily obtain a current enough for everyday use. Solar cells are used to supply electricity to man-made satellites in space. In the remote parts of our country, solar cells are used to generate electricity for lift pumps, cold storages for medicines, electric heaters, etc. Solar energy, wind, flowing water, sea waves are non-conventional sources of energy. They will always be available in nature. Hence, it is best to make the maximum use of these non-conventional sources. Try this. Take a wooden board, place it in the backyard or on the terrace. On it, place an inflated tube of a scooter wheel. Paint the outside of an aluminium box black. In the box, put some rice and enough water for cooking it. Close the box and place it in the round space in the center of the tube. Now, place a sheet of glass over the box and the tube. Ensure that the tube is in the sunlight all the time. Open the box after 2 or 3 hours. You have nice hot rice ready to eat.